Welcome to WildHER Wisdom, the podcast where sassy meets savvy. Join Shelley and Amy as they dive into the heart of womanhood, blending inspiration, laughter, and authentic conversations. In each episode, they celebrate the wild and wise woman in you, exploring everything from personal growth and self-care to career and relationships. So whether you're looking for a spark of joy, a dose of empowerment, or a good laugh, you're in the right place. Let's get started on today's journey into WildHER Wisdom.
All right. Welcome, Bethany. Thank you for being with us here today, all the way from the great state of Texas.
Yes.
So, Bethany, we're so excited that you're here with us today. We got a chance to talk with you beforehand, and you're doing so many great things. And so, Amy and I love to uplift and inspire women, and you're doing that every day in your job of image consulting. So let's kick it off because there may be people out there that don't know what image consulting is. So can you kind of give us some insight of what it is and why you chose it for your career?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for asking me to be on. It's a pleasure to speak with you and with your audience. And yes, image consulting, probably people have heard personal stylist, and some image consultants go by that. Image consulting, however, I feel is more of an educational aspect to it. We want our client to learn what works for them and why it works for them. And also we want to connect the client to their own personal style so that they can effortlessly tell their story through their personal image. And I chose this second career because I wanted to make a more what I felt like was a more direct impact on people's lives. I've always had a servant's heart, and I've always loved fashion and style and color and makeup and all the things. So this kind of brings those two passions together, and really just makes it accessible to everyone. I think we think maybe style is something that's elusive. Fashion isn't something that they can figure out. And I just come in and I just make that super easy for my clients.
I wanted to raise up one of the things that you said, because I think it's really important. And sometimes people don't think about it, is we are telling a story, whether we're controlling the story we're telling or we're not. So it sounds like you're helping people understand their story.
Right. We always, in our first appointment, come up with their style words, and usually it's a collective of 3 words that describe who they are as a person and the story that they want to tell through their image. And these words are just guides for you while you're editing, while you're shopping, while you're putting an outfit together. And it may not be immediately accessible as far as what those words look like in terms of your style, but at least those words are there so that you can work your way towards an image that speaks those words to you personally.
I love that. And I love how you put it in there, the servant's heart. I like how you highlighted that piece of it, because then ultimately your clients, I think, are going to feel that from you as well.
Yes. And that just empowers them when I'm there to help, that they can just kind of let their guard down a little bit and know that they don't need to be anything but themselves with me. And I'm not there to judge their choices or the things that are in their closet. I'm just there to help and to make sense and to connect the dots so that when they go into their closet the next time, it seems to tell a little bit more of a cohesive story and things just make more sense, and it's easier to get dressed and get ready for the day.
And feel good.
Yes.
So given your brand's foundational values of authenticity, wise use of resources, thoughtfulness, and inclusiveness, could you share how they influence daily interactions with clients and maybe just shape the services? So kind of elaborate a little bit more about what you said already.
Yeah. So authenticity, of course, is just being who you are and not being afraid to show who you are, because you're the only one that's ever going to be in the history of the world. You are it. So I want people to just be themselves, to feel comfortable being themselves. And that's not always easy. Life kind of takes you by the tail sometimes and tells you who to be, or maybe you've been influenced by certain people close to you that have told you need to put a certain image forward. And I've certainly fallen into that as well. So asking yourself those questions. Inclusiveness is just really keeping an open heart as far as who my client could be. Mm-hmm. I have a typical client, but if someone outside of that approaches me, I want to hear their story. I want to hear what they are looking to do, because there's always those people that I can help that aren't within kind of the normal range. Mm-hmm. And wise use of resources. I've always been big on making sure that you're using what you have already, which is why I always start with an edit with a client, because there's probably so many outfits in there and we only need to shop for these certain things. Mm-hmm. And so not going out and shopping immediately and seeing what you have already, it's just so much wiser to your own pocketbook. It really kind of saves you money hiring me to come and assist you with that initial edit. So, and it's just kind of always been part of my DNA, these things. I love people. I love including people. I love stretching my dollar and making, so these things just align with who I am personally. And so it's just very natural for me to bring it into my business.
I love that.
There's so much worry time is the word I'm going to use that can go into the way that you put yourself together every day. Mm-hmm. For me, I exclusively wear black. And one of the reasons is because I'm super busy and I don't want to take time making a lot of decisions. I like to be as streamlined as possible, but there's a lot of, like you said, going in and editing. Some people have clothes in their closet that they're just mocking them. They're just,
yes.
mocking them, thinking, I'm going to fit in that one day, or maybe that's going to look great on me one day. So I love the idea of the edit piece of it. But I'm wondering, from that journey with the new client, you talked about the edit and the finding, their 3 words. Like, how do you unearth that in a way that they feel comfortable, that they're not feeling, like you said, judged or like, oh, I'm doing everything wrong, or I have to hold on to this piece of clothing for some emotional reason.
Yeah. That's always difficult. We have memories attached to our clothes. And I guess one thing that's important to remember is you had that wonderful time with that piece, and that time's not going to return, but that piece served you in that moment, and it's okay to let it go. But we do have those sentimental pieces, and I don't want someone to have a complete wardrobe full of sentimental pieces, but if they have an under the bed box that they can utilize, or a small section in the back of the closet where they have special things that they know they're not going to wear anymore, I'm totally fine with that. So that, but as far as getting to the style words, I really have a client create a style visual before we get together. And so we can talk about those images, and it doesn't just have to be fashion. It can just be things that they love, a landscape or a certain painting or an interior. And then I have the client describe their style, their wish board to me. And from there, we can start to pull some words. And I have a couple of questionnaires I send my clients ahead of appointments as well. And usually there'll be words that repeat themselves or continue to pop out. And they're just normal, everyday questions like, how would your friends describe you? Or what type of style are you drawn to? Just different things like that. And those words that continue to repeat themselves, and those answers are maybe an indicator of what your style words could be.
So you're like an artist. This is a creative space, it sounds like, in some respect.
It is. It is. Mm-hmm. And I tell people, these are your style words right now. You can change them at any time. I've had 3 or 4 sets of style words over the years, and sometimes I'm this set and other times I'm that set. So, but I think it's also important to remember that your style is going to evolve. That doesn't mean that your words have to change, but it is possible that they may. And just know that nothing's set in stone. We're choosing these 3 words now. Sit with them and see if they feel right to you. If not, let's make some adjustments.
The simplicity of it is I love that. I don't know the word that I'm trying to think of, but just the simplicity that you have 3 simple words or 3 words to describe, that makes it seem to me, listening to you, just less overwhelming, that it's something that could be, that it could be accomplishable to start. Because when I think of doing something like this, it feels overwhelming. So just the fact that you're gonna stream it down to 3 words, and that's all I need to focus on, that makes it feel a little less overwhelming in figuring out where to start. So I'm guessing that the power of the transformation through this image consulting can be pretty profound for some of your clients. Do you have a specific story that maybe you'd want to share on how you've impacted a client's life?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I think just some of my clients that have been with me over the years, not even necessarily people that I've seen every single year, but people that continue to come back to me and seek my guidance. I have a sweet client who had a house fire and lost all of her clothing. And we had worked for years in curating and being very intentional with what we were choosing for her wardrobe. And we had it in such a lovely place. And now we're starting all over again. And she's just maintained such an open mind and just a good energy. And she doesn't shop when she's not feeling like it. It's been a very slow process. She hasn't tried to replace everything all at once, but that's something that kind of jumps out to me, and that it could all go away tomorrow, but we just start again. And
did her style words change?
I don't think so. No, her style and her style words haven't really changed over the years. And when I started working with her, she was probably in her 50s, and now she's in her 60s. And so maybe at that point in her life, she kind of settled into her style. Whereas if we'd started when she was in her 30s, I would be surprised if the style words didn't adjust a little bit. But no. And but colors, she's changed a little bit what looks good on her. So the palette might be slightly different, but otherwise, we're just kind of trying to keep our spirits up and keep going.
Yep.
What a great way to provide in an emotional time, and just when everything's happening, for you to be able to provide that stability. It's like a support system for her, which is a wonderful thing to do. So I want to ask you about this. I'm going to call it post-ish COVID world that we're living in.
Right.
Things have changed. Like, things have changed. People were working strictly remotely, many for a long time. Now we're kind of back. A lot of folks are hybrid. How has personal presentation changed in this new world we're living in? And how have you, pivoted your advice to reflect kind of where we are and where we're going?
Yeah, I have to keep my finger on the pulse as far as what's happening in the workplace, plus what's happening in fashion, and kind of bring those 2 things together. Because if we all had our way, we'd probably just go into the office in sweats and sneakers every day. And there, like you said at the very beginning, there is a certain message that comes along with that look. And not that we can't be comfortable. I'm always talking about how style doesn't mean that you have to compromise comfort. There are so many brands now that are catering to this new world that we're in: elastic waist pants, stretchy fabrics, that still kind of skim the body and don't they present us in a way where we still can look smart. It fits us well, but the fabrics are different. And like I said, the addition of elastic waists and more pockets and things like that. So people are starting to question their presentation, and I'm starting to get more clients as a result of people going back into an office and not really sure. But I'm putting clients in brands like Athleta, which is an athleisure brand, and Viore, and other brands like that have very functional clothing. I think it's just important to remember that we do have different types of clothing for different types of things that we do in our lives. And the last time I checked, we're not all going to yoga all the time. So we don't need to be in our yoga pants all the time. But there are other choices that are very comfortable. And actually, I hope it's okay if I name a certain type of pant and brand, but one of my favorite pants right now is the Athleta Endless cargo pant, and they also make an endless pant without the pockets. They just call it the endless pant. It's elastic waist. I wear it to my client appointments all the time, and it looks sharp. I put like a normal shirt on and a little jacket. No one knows that I'm in Athleta pants. So there's tons of little ways to cheat, to still be comfortable, to still look nice. It's just a matter of, piecing it together with other things that are nice. It could even just be a few accessories that you put on to kind of sharpen the look a little bit.
There's a free plug there. There's a free plug.
I'm a huge fan of Athleta. I love Athleta. It really is. It's really great and functional. Hands down, I do wear it to work too. So I will say I'm one of those people. But one thing that I've noticed, and I just wanted to see, I noticed like sort of COVID, we were all wearing our jams, right? And then some of us went back hybrid and it was this really kind of super casual. I'm seeing the upswing on that where people are like, okay, let's stop wearing our jammies to work, people. We need to get back to some semblance of professionalism. Are you seeing that trend too when you're keeping an eye on things?
Yes, because I think we as humans, we just naturally crave what's different and what's next. And so a lot of people have done it. We wore the pajamas for 3 years. Hooray. And now what's next? What are the cool jeans to put on again? And what are the pieces that can transition me back into the world and look like I'm ready for the world and not ready for a nap? So I think something that people maybe don't believe until they experience it themselves is enclothed cognition, where your clothing really creates a situation for you where you are actually performing better when you have certain clothing on, whether it's the jacket that makes you feel more powerful in the meeting, or just that great fitting pair of pants that every time you walk out the door, you just feel like $1,000,000. We all have those little examples of things like that we know that it's real. And so something super relaxed like pajamas are just going to perhaps translate to being super relaxed in our approach to our work. And depending on your work, maybe that's not such a great thing.
Yeah, sure. I want to shift a little bit into maybe speaking to your younger audience when you're talking about, post-COVID and transitioning the style of wear. Like, what kind of core advice do you have to some of your younger clientele that might come to you in reflecting that authenticity in their wardrobe when they've got so much of social media influence? I mean, we all do, but some of the younger generation feel it a little bit more than us potentially. What kind of core advice do you start to give the younger audience when you get that clientele coming in?
The advice isn't really so different, regardless of where a person is in their career, in their life. It's really just about figuring out who you are, understanding where you are as far as your career and the things that you want to communicate. Who are you getting dressed for every day? Who are you seeing? What type of work are you doing? So that thoughtfulness that we talked about at the beginning, there's a lot of thought that needs to go into putting yourself together, because you are not the only person that is influenced by your image. You are influencing other people around you, whether you want to or not, just like you're communicating to other people around you. And so it's important to look like you're ready for whatever it is that is ahead of you. So kind of turning off the noise a little bit, but also wanting to put yourself together in a way that shows that you respect the people that you're spending that time with, and you're bringing a level of respect to the work that you're going to be doing. And then that translates to people assuming you're going to do an outstanding job for them.
And reflecting what makes you feel good too, going back to things that make you feel comfortable wearing, maintaining that authenticity of what feels good to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Bethany, I know that you speak to groups, to young, I call them young folks. I'm at the age where anyone under the age of 18 is a young folk to me. Um, and you're going
Babies.
in, mere babes in the woods. And you're talking to them about beauty and confidence, and this really allows you to expand what you're doing from the one-on-one things that you do, to really impact these younger people at a really important time of their life. Can you share some of the messages and the things that you talk with these groups about?
Yeah, I have spoken with some younger groups, and as young as fifth graders, and I have a group that I speak to every year about true beauty. And it's a message that even the older ladies who are there, who are helping to organize the event for the young ladies, take something away. And sometimes it's easier to identify beauty in someone else than it is in you. So I have them write their name on a card and pass it around, and have other people write things about them that they find beautiful about them. And it doesn't have to be about appearance. It could be something about just how they are as a person and the things that they bring to that person's life. And then they get their card back and they read all these wonderful things. And I just tell them, see, you are beautiful. Other people see it. And it's important for you to now start to add to this card and write down some beautiful things that are within you that you know are there. They may never hear that they're beautiful from someone else, so that doesn't mean that they're not. So that's just one example. And it's super easy to make a list of people that you think are beautiful, and I have them leave that bottom one empty until they're ready to write their name there, because their name belongs in that list of beautiful people as well. And if you're training your eye to see beauty all around you, then it's a lot easier to start seeing beauty in yourself. And so that's just a little bit about my approach to that. It's so hard, and beauty feels so elusive, and beauty may not even be the word that they want to use, but
Right.
some positive word that they can say about themselves that makes them wonderful, if wonderful feels better, or fantastic or awesome, so that they know that they are worth the time and the effort to present themselves in a certain way, because it is beautiful how you treat yourself too. You can treat others. We hear taking care of others, doing well for others, but it's a beautiful act to take care of yourself too. And the most vital act, truly, before you can take care of anyone else. And all of that is beautiful, in my opinion. And so yeah, that's just a little bit about that. But older ladies like that message too.
Yeah.
It does so many things. I was looking at Amy because we're on
Yeah.
video as we record this, and I'm like, we're both tearing up when you're saying that because it's like
Uh-huh.
so impactful. Like it gave me the chills. But I'm thinking like so many lessons that you're teaching people, not only to recognize the beauty in yourself, but the importance of telling other people that
Right.
they're beautiful.
Yep.
Right.
And starting
Right.
that
Amy,
young.
did you have the chills too? I was like staring at Amy
Yes.
going, "Oh my God, I'm gonna say
Yeah, I know, because starting that young, I mean, my goodness, just to start that for them to hear that message at that age and continuing upward throughout their years, but to start there and then build on that, and then they can build on that with themselves, within themselves, to make, the message feel a little bit more impactful and authentic, right?
Right. Right. And a lot of times I'll show them pictures of me over the years, starting as young as kindergarten to now. And that way they know whatever it is that they're fixated on right now,
Yeah.
it's going to change. I didn't love my freckles, I didn't love the gap in my teeth, and so on and so forth. And so rather than fixating on these things, just understand that a handful of years down the road, you'll look back and you'll go, gosh, I was actually pretty cute. Why was I wasting my time thinking that I wasn't?
Yeah. We could all use that lesson, right?
Yes.
So, so pretending that you have, a crystal ball, I guess, and just with some eyes set on the future for your business, what innovations or expansions are you considering possibly to enhance your brand or its influence in the field of image consulting? You got
Oh
some
gosh,
offer,
that's
some
that's a
dreams,
great question. What's that? What
some
was the last
dreams.
part? Dreams. Oh gosh, I'm so bad at it. And I'm just going to go ahead and, in the spirit of authenticity, say I'm a terrible dreamer and I'm a terrible goal setter. And when someone asks me what my goals are, what I dream about, I just tell them I dream about being a kind person who wants to put good things into the world every single day and fill the world with love and acceptance. And then life happens. And so I think I don't know if it'd be better if I were better at dreaming and goal setting, but I think I'm at least positioning myself in a way with an open heart and a loving heart that whatever comes, hopefully I'm ready for it. Once upon a time I thought about writing a book.
Mhm.
I've dabbled in photography. I am very interested in yoga and wellness. And so sometimes I think about what the next chapter will be. Will it involve being a yoga teacher
Mhm.
or assisting my clients in other ways that are in other types of wellness? Because I do feel like what I do is a type of wellness. It's
Great.
just not nutritional
Yep.
necessarily for the body. So color analysis is something that's exploding, and so I'm starting to wonder where that's going. Everything that I do with color analysis is hands-on, and I use an actual kit of fabrics. And I'm sure with AI and everything else that's coming, it's probably going to be taking a photo of somebody or having them submit a photo, and AI just pulls all the colors together.
Does. Yeah. Well, you're working on
That
wellness with the mind. You're working on that piece of the wellness, which is just as important, with working on our image, our personal image of ourselves. So that,
right.
yes, you are definitely making an impact already in that. So anything that grows from you
Yes.
can only get better and better. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I think about that. And many of us wrestle with our personal image, our confidence. Um, and so if there's a listener out there going, "Oh gosh, this sounds really great, Bethany, but I'm just, really, really down on myself." What piece of advice would you give them?
Well, you're the only one of you that's ever going to be. And so I think that that's just lovely and amazing. And you bring incredible things to every day in life. And so we're not always going to feel beautiful. We're not always going to feel worthy. we're going to have down days. We're going to have down periods, but don't give up on yourself. Just know that you have work to do. And when you're ready, the work will be there and you are equipped for it. You have special gifts and talents that only you bring. And so just continue to try to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I heard this quote once, and I don't know if you've all heard it, but it just really resonated with me because we're living in such different times than when I grow up. I'm not going to venture to age you, Bethany. But I know Amy and I are in the same age bracket.
Yeah.
But in this world of social media, and I heard something that said, "Don't compare your whole life to someone else's highlights," because
Yeah.
often that's what we see, just those little snippets, and it's filtered and it's great and it's
Mhm.
all of these things, but like, that's not reality.
It's not, or comparing someone's your day one to someone's day 1000. I mean, it's the same kind of concept. I mean,
Right.
it's just not
Yeah.
equal.
Yeah, you'd never start anything new. Like when I was interested in image consulting, if I looked at somebody 20 years down the road who already had an established business, that would be very easy to get discouraged and go, well, there's just really no point in me doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely staying in your lane and keeping your eye on your tasks and looking to others for encouragement and guidance, but not such an extended look that you're getting discouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bethany, talking about just like down periods or down times or just authenticity and struggles, juggling the demands of being a mom, a wife, and a successful business owner can also be challenging, I'm sure.
Yes.
Can you share how you manage all of those roles and maybe what a typical day looks like for you?
Sure, absolutely. I think first and foremost, we need to just be real and just say there's no such thing as balance. I'm going to be a better mom sometimes than others. I'm going to be a better business owner sometimes than others. And my day typically starts at 5:30 because if I don't get up and spend that time fueling myself with what I need before I get everybody else up and give them what they need, I'm going to find myself pretty quickly depleted. So that was a realization that I came to once the kids were a little bit older and I just had a little less flexibility in my day to do certain things that maybe I used to do in the afternoon. I just get up in the morning, I do my quiet time, I do my yoga, and then I'm ready. I can get dressed and get the kids up and get them out the door to school. And yes, the work kind of happens in stops and starts. And so sometimes when I get them from school, I have to go back to my desk until 6 or 6:30 until it's time for dinner. So it's just kind of a process that I've settled into, and they understand and they're respectful of the fact that I have a business too, and I can't always do everything. But it is nice to have this business where I'm not tied to a desk and I can go on a field trip. They're still somewhat young and still like me to be involved at school, and so the time is running out to where they won't, and then they'll be off and running in their next phase of life. But yeah, I think the other thing to remember is when you're down, just remember that things are always going to change. You're not always going to be in the toddler phase. You're not always going to be in this hard period that you find yourself in now, and just give yourself the comforting things that you need to get you through those times, and go easy on yourself. We can't drive hard all the time because we will burn ourselves out.
Right. And I love that you take that time in the morning. I do this as well. That's my time before anybody gets up or before very few people are up. And I just have my quiet time to set my day.
Yeah.
And it just makes all the difference in the world. If I don't get it, I definitely notice the change in how the day goes. So I love that you do that. We're all trying to do all the things. Shelley and I talk about that all the time. Like, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to get it all in, and we got to be relaxed, and we got to be, self-care, and then we got to this and this, and it's like, to
All
fit
the
it all in is
time.
just all the
Yeah.
time,
Yes.
and run a business and be, a wife and a mom, and all the things. It's just hard to fit it all in sometimes. So yeah, the morning time for me is my time as well. So love that.
Right. And
is
it
the
doesn't even
secret
have to
sauce.
be like a full hour or a full
Yeah.
30 minutes. If all you have time for in the morning is a 10-minute stretch, then do it. Or a 5-minute pranayama, breathing exercise. Because it doesn't have to be a long extended thing, just
Right.
a little time for yourself, whatever time there is that you can carve out on that particular day. And if you've got 30 minutes, wonderful. But if you don't, then just do the 5 minutes, because you're still going to feel so much better than if you'd just gone, oh, I don't have time.
Yeah, be intentional about it.
Yep.
Exactly. Well, we are running out of, speaking of time, we're running out of time. So we're each going to ask you one more question. And I'm really curious about this. I believe that you have twins. Am I correct?
I do.
Yes. Okay. And so as a mom and a role model to your twins, how do you incorporate the lessons from your career? You're teaching about confidence and authenticity and all of that. How do you incorporate that into helping them as they grow up?
Yeah, it's tricky. I was raised differently than they were or are being raised, in that I want them to present themselves in a way that feels good to them. And so I'm not telling them what to wear. I'm guiding them, of course, and offering some assistance, but my daughter doesn't own any dresses or skirts, and she's not interested in having any of those things right now. And I can't be a good image consultant and say that I help people be who they are through their image if I'm requiring my daughter to wear certain things because she's a girl. So I think people have seen that in just through looking at our portraits as a family, and really appreciate that I'm allowing her to be who she is. I recently shared on Facebook a look back of when she cut her hair when she was in kindergarten. She's growing it back out now, but it was 6 years where she wore her hair short and loved it, and not to be afraid of that change, because she is kind of afraid of change. And so just showing her that, hey, you did this hard thing, and it's just so important for me to continue to communicate to them that I want them to be who they are. And I'm here for you if you have questions. Right now, the struggle is the self-care aspect. Did you wash your face? Did you brush your teeth? But I just try to step back and not put so much control on it, because they have to be themselves. It's not a reflection on me in any way. If they're not brushing their hair, it's just they decided not to brush their hair that day.
That's wonderful.
So talking about, I know we alluded to that work-life balance and whether it exists or whether it doesn't, but if you had some advice for other working parents wanting to start a business, what would it be?
Goodness. Just give it time. I've had this business for 16 years, and a few years into it, I had twins. A few years beyond that, I moved to Seattle, where I had no clients and really no business for about 3.5 years. And so just kind of roll with the punches, and just know that it's a marathon and not a sprint. And I know it's always very exciting at the beginning of a business, at the beginning of any project, to want to get to the thing where you're speaking to big audiences or whatever it is you're working towards. but just do those little things every single day to get you to the next step. It's just one step at a time, one task at a time, one day at a time. Try not to tackle it all at once. And I hope that makes you happier in the long run.
And you're living proof of that right now.
Thank you.
Are. Well, you stunning souls, unfortunately, we've reached an end to another journey together on WildHER Wisdom podcast. But don't let the conversation stop here. Keep the inspiration flowing by connecting with us on social media. Like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram for a dose of empowerment and updates. And for those who just can't get enough, head on over to wildherwisdom.com. There you can connect with us, stay up to date on all our latest adventures, and catch up on episodes you may have missed.
So until next time, keep embracing your wild and exploring your wisdom. Remember, you are capable, you are resilient, and you are amazing. Keep shining.